You know, in in my mind, the top issues facing District 3 after serving on the school board for the past 3 years is education. Specifically the funding of education, and probably more specifically teacher salaries. You know, last legislative session they did pass the half-penny sales tax increase, and I think many legislators had teacher salaries being increased on their minds, but in my opinion, it was not about raising teacher salaries. It was about becoming competitive with our surrounding states, so we don't have teachers that are leaving the state for other states and retaining them while we have them. And they did pass that last year. I know on our school board we've already approved the updated salaries, and I can tell you right now our school district teachers were very happy with what happened, but it's not done yet. Right now we have come close to, for instance, North Dakota. We're very close to what North Dakota's average teacher salary is, but we're still not close to Minnesota, Wyoming, or Nebraska. We still have a ways to go with that. So K-12 education has always been a big topic every single legislative session, and I'm sure it's going to be another one next year because, again, we're not done. It's an ongoing issue because now we've reached a good pinnacle, but there's got to be that steady increase throughout the next couple of years so we can be competitive and recruit and retain teachers in South Dakota. You know, K-12 education is right there again. It's going to be is a big one. 2 years ago, the legislature passed the wheel tax to help pay for our roads and bridges, which are in dire need. Our infrastructure is in dire need. And I know that did pass 2 years ago, but there are some that are still against those wheel taxes, which are paying for the infrastructure fixes. I think we need to continue looking at our infrastructure in South Dakota as a whole because I felt Governor Dugard did the right thing 2 years ago in introducing that. The legislature did the right thing 2 years ago to pass that, but our infrastructure needs to improve and it needs to keep building on itself. So I think that along with K-12 education is continuing with our infrastructure. For me, I think my greatest strength is my diverse experience. I have legislative experience at both the federal level, the state level, and the local level. I've been a lifelong public servant. I'm retired from the military. I retired from state government just about 2 years ago, and I've been serving on the school board for the past 3 years. And I just think my experience in that manner is a strength, but I also think my life experiences are a strength as well. You know, I've been a registered voter for 36 years, a lifelong Republican. And I think over those years I've learned a lot just by being around the world. I've been in many different diverse situations, which has taught me a lot about how to work with people and how to get things done. That is a tough one. That is a very controversial issue up in this area, especially east of here around the Wabash area. You know, those lakes continue to grow, and when they expand, they're expanding onto private property. It's one that I'll be honest with you, I've not made a decision on. I've been watching it very closely, and I know I believe the Supreme Court just made a ruling on it not too long ago, siding with the landowners. And I'm a one that tends to go with what's decided upon. You know, people that know me know that I listen to them, and if they're given their opinions and they given opinions why, not just saying because, but given a good reason why, I tend to listen to them. But at this point, I have not made a decision one way or another. Whether that comes up in the legislature next year, I don't know. Like I said, the Supreme Court made a decision, I believe, about a month ago on this, and they sided with the landowners. But it's a very tough issue. It's because they've owned that land, but now the lake, which was, say, a public lake, has expanded. People who fish, which I'm a fisherman, I fish quite a bit, believe they have the right to continue on that lake just because it's grown, but it's over private property. What happens then when that water goes down? Because at some point in the future, it's going to go down. It's going to go back down again, and it's going to be that landowner's property to farm. So when does that give and take come, or where does it come? Right now, I can't decide on one way or another. It's a very controversial issue and one that I'm very divided on. Well, as I said earlier, funding for education is never going to stop. Finally, this past legislative session, they made a big step, and it was time. It's been time for a number of years to make this, even though when we went through the recession, Governor Dugard did make some cuts. And in fact, we had a deficit at that time, and he made some cuts, but he made a straight across the board cut, which was probably fair. Some people have said maybe he should have cut in different places and maybe not cut education at the same time, but all in all, I think it was a fair thing to do. And we're just finally getting back, before this last legislative session, we're finally getting back to where we should have been 8 years ago. But again, education is never going to be it's never a dead issue. It's always going to come up every year. K-12 education has to be at the top of our list. Even though I will say that I have about 10 things at the top of my list, and K-12 education is one of them. That doesn't mean we raise taxes to pay for things every time, but we have to find ways to pay for it, pay for education, and continue the increase and continue good funding for our kids. They're our future. They're our future leaders, and we need to take care of them. And in my opinion, it does start with the teachers.